Shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I want to say call halal, Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rakah, Kodash. We send double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. We send much peace, love, and salutations to Yakim out there pushing the word of Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai in sincerity and truth. This is the brother Ariala. Just a quick lesson, man. We live in this world, as you can see in the title. I named it. This ain't living. This ain't living. When we look out, and it can be very frustrating in this world to navigate. The more you understand the way that the Most High actually wants the world to operate, and it's natural for us in the flesh to cling on to what we have here, whether it be our families, or whether it be a job or a business, or maybe some material things you might have in this world. But when you sit back and you understand it, this is not living, man. It is not living at all. Everything that we have is a constant worry. Everything that we have is polluted, and from our parents all the way to our siblings, all the way to our family members, your wives, your children. It's all tainted and broken, And so we have to take our heart and our mind out of this place. The more you go into this ministry, the more you detach yourself from really holding on to anything that would seem sentimental, or would seem like, oh, it's so valuable in this place. We lose that sentiment, and you do get an edge as you go along in this pilgrimage, in this truth. There's a chip that comes on your shoulder because you're waiting, because you understand this is not living. Here in Micah 2:10 it says, "Arise ye and depart, for this is not your rest, because it is polluted. It shall destroy you even with a sword destruction." We have to depart from holding on in this world to sentimental things. Let's see if I can get that word. Definition. Let's get this. This word sentimental. Of or promoted by feelings of tenderness, sadness, or nostalgia. Having or arousing feelings of tenderness, sadness, or nostalgia, right? Typically in an exaggerated and self-indulgent way. We can get sentimental about, our wives, and making, we can get sentimental about our children and wanting them to be okay in this world. We can get sentimental about our life situations, or maybe our house. And you gotta understand, it's all polluted. You're not really in a, you don't really have a wife like that. You don't really have control and sovereignty over your children. You don't really own your house. Like Elder Yashawamba says, this body that we live in is just rented for a period of time, and we hope to give this up in order to receive something even better when the Lord returns. Here in the book of Mark, chapter 8, verse 35, it says, "For whosoever will save his life shall lose it, but whosoever shall lose his life for my sake and the gospel's, the same shall save it. For what shall it profit a man if he gain the whole world and lose his soul?" You see what I'm saying? And so what is there to gain or hold on to in this world? You come in this truth and you struggle with your relationship. You struggle with taking care of your children. You struggle with, finding a better job and making more money. And the more you struggle with putting energy into all of that stuff, the more you lose in exchange your soul and your purpose within the ministry. You can't serve two masters. And so we have to understand that this ain't living. You got your time in here. If you got a woman, you deal the best you can. But just like Paul said, you're going to deal with trouble in the flesh. You got a business, it's gonna take time, and you got to pay attention to that shit. And you realize, man, I'm not doing the work like I'm supposed to be doing. I'm not working with brothers like I planned on be working with brothers. I need to. So you have to give up on the business. You don't got time. You don't have the you want to gain one thing, but then you lose the main thing. And so it's so important to keep the main thing as the main thing and not get sentimental and sad about losing your life, so to speak. on this side. Why? Because we hope for something better to come. And when you look about and when you really, really understand it, it's ridiculously nasty and polluted. This earth is through. You know what I mean? I'm down here in Dallas, man. You look around and there's literal alphabet people walking around, just transformers and alphabet people walking, and it's an infestation now. It didn't used to be like that here in Texas. Now it's like ridiculous, man. They push it on the TV shows on your kids in the middle of the show. Somebody wants to talk about how, they're this, they're that, they're sticks that need to be put on fire. They flaunt it. You look on the news and the earth is completely defiled. The water is trash. The air is trash. Look at what happened in Canada and what's happening in the northern regions of the United States. The air is completely defiled. The food, you don't know what you're eating. It's just ridiculously through. You get a woman, she's bucking up to you, she's talking back to you, she don't want you to be a man. You can't be a man. It offends her because of all the teachings from the world. And now you got to deal with that, nagging and upset because you're not there. She want more time and attention. They feel oppressed because just to be in helpmeet, so you have to argue back and forth with your children. You're worried about them constantly, about what's going on when you're not there, when you're at work. Oh my gosh, you got to go through traffic, people yelling and screaming on the road, cops looking at you, man, you're clocking your speed. You get to work, you got to deal with bullshit, people gossiping, argument. It's everything is just a dump of cortisol and stress into your system. There is no peace in this world. This world is completely broken. Okay? Here in 2nd Ezra, the 15th chapter, and the 8th verse, we're going to start up at 6. It says, "For wickedness hath exceedingly polluted the whole earth, and their hurtful works are fulfilled." Okay? The wickedness has exceedingly polluted the whole earth. Everything is tainted. That's why this is not living. You're in a constant state of death on this side. So that's why you're encouraged by Yahweh Shem Shah, by the Spirit, to just give it up. Give it up and wait for a real life to come. You can't really be who you want to be in this place. You having to be careful what you say to people. They'll turn around and rend you for believing in the truth. Believing who you are and that you're an Israelite can get you killed if you openly express it with enthusiasm. Separate you from your family. Make your family turn their back on you for the truth's sake. This ain't living. There is no judgment in this place. So you can't have a sentimental feeling about losing certain things. You can't have a sentimental feeling about what you have on this side. You just have to know that this is just a passing through point. That's it. Nothing more, nothing less. And you have to keep that edge in your mind. And when people try to drag you, or situations try to drag you into caring too damn much, you got to check yourself. You got to check yourself, man. And you have to remember, oh, yeah, we're in hell. It ain't going to be the way the Lord said it should be. Right? And it's not okay. That's why in verse 8 it says, "I will hold my tongue no more as concerning their wickedness, which they profanely commit. Neither will I suffer them in those things in which they wickedly exercise themselves. Behold, the innocent and righteous blood crieth unto me, and the souls of the just complain continually." Continually, man. I, got back off the road, and immediately I went to camp on Tuesday. And it was so interesting because as we was preaching, I just felt weight lifted off of me in the preaching. I just felt crying out to the Lord about this BS and what the Most High is determined to do, and having faith in it gave me a little relief from this BS life, man. All right, from having to look around and deal with BS all day. And it reminded me, okay, yeah, this ain't living, but the Lord has something better on the table. So we constantly seek out crying for the day of the Lord. Okay? 2 Peter chapter 3, verse 10 says, "But the day of the Lord will come as a thief in the night, in the which the heavens shall pass away with great noise, and the elements shall melt with fervent heat. The earth also and the works that are therein shall be burnt up. Seeing then that all these things shall be dissolved, what manner of persons ought ye to be in all holy conversation and godliness, looking for and hastening unto the coming of the day of the Most High, wherein the heavens, being on fire, shall be dissolved, and the elements shall melt with fervent heat." And as you take on that mindset, people around you are not going to understand. People that are in the world that are focused on their happiness on this side over the kingdom are not going to understand your lack of sentimental care for the things that are here. They're going to think you're mean. They're going to think you're just angry. They're going to think you're strange. Okay? But as you hope and hasten the day of the coming of the Lord, you release yourself from, I'm going to keep using this word, the sentiment of wanting to hold on to this world. Of wanting to hold on to whatever you have here. You know, you go through things and you get weak. We get weak in the flesh. I get weak in the flesh about certain things where I'm like fucked up about certain things. I might be fucked up about my situation with my family. And it's bugging me, it's bothering me. Then I have to be reminded, either by, through prayer or another brother saying something to me, maybe a elder or apostle, that, you know what, it's part of the game. It's part of the mission. You have to remind yourself. Part of it is not being attached to this stuff, not being attached to whatever you got going on in this world, man, because it's going to become critical when they start to really bring tribulation, when the Spirit of the Lord and this whole earth is really troubled. Your head has to be in the game. This is not life. This is not living. We're not fighting for anything in this world. We're fighting for everything to become brand new, including ourselves. Okay? So we give it up. Just like the disciples were warned. Here, Matthew 19:27. It says, Then answered Peter and said unto him, talking to Yahushua, Behold, we have forsaken all and followed thee. What shall we have therefore? And when Peter was talking about it, they forsook everything. They forsook their houses. They forsook their wives and their children. They forsook the relationships that they had with their brothers and sisters and their moms and dads and other family members. They forsook the business ventures that they had going. They forsook all of that to follow Yahushua. And we have to step in that stead too. Because they understood through Yahushua, everything is going to be restored. And this is what Yahushua told them. It says, And Yahushua said unto them, Verily I say unto you, that ye which have followed me, in the regeneration, when the Son of Man shall sit in the throne of his glory, ye also shall sit upon 12 thrones, judging the 12 tribes of Israel. You're going to be put in a place of power, glory, rulership, dominance. That means you're going to be able to influence what is going on in the world. You're going to be able to be a part of issuing out righteous judgment. Okay? Right now, you don't sit there. You can't even get your woman to be quiet. Who are you talking to? Don't talk to me like that. You get a bunch of talk back. Kids, so they start getting older, start talking back, rolling their eyes. You be wanting to punch them in the back of the head, right? Pete, your boss talking to you crazy at work, and you just looking at them with and just daydreaming, punching a hole through the back of their face, or just ripping the eyeballs out the socket, man, like Mortal Kombat or something. But you just looking at them, listening. Somebody flicking you off in traffic, and you wish you had a bazooka or a missile on your car. You just have to deal with disrespect and BS in this world, man. You can't go to the government and make them clean up the water and do it the right way. There's a helplessness. of just watching the world be completely mismanaged. What? We give this world up and we wait for it to be regenerated into a new world. Verse 29 says, and everyone that hath forsaken houses or brethren or sisters or father or mother or wife or children or your land, right, for my name's sake, shall receive 100-fold and shall inherit everlasting life. Right? And don't I know you brothers listening, you take care of your house if you have one, or whatever. You love your brothers and sisters most likely, or your father and your mother and your children and your wives. You care for these people deeply. But you have to forsake the sentiment of them on this side and follow Yahweh Shem Yahushua. Because the mindset of this spiritual war will pull you away from those things. Those things are meant for a righteous world. Okay? So the mindset of being in this ministry pulls you away from that tender, loving care of your house and your brothers and sisters and your wife and your mom and dad and the children. And that tender, loving care on this side, you put that spirit into the ministry. Everything else is a distraction and it takes away from that energy. You know, you peel off a little bit of it because we are in this world and we have to do what we got to do. But you reserve and you protect your tending, loving care, your enthusiasm, and your energy for the ministry because it requires the most of you. And that's a sacrifice. And it's a sacrifice so you can receive 100-fold and inherit everlasting life. Right? Verse 30 says, but many that are first shall be last, and the last shall be first. But if you focusing on these things, to abound in these things on this side, you'll end up last. Right? The Most High will be like, hey man, I never knew you. You wasn't down. You was only down for what you wanted on this side, not for glorifying me out in this world. All right? As this world is being, cast into absolute destruction. Right? But we wait for everlasting life, man, where we don't have to worry about BS no more. Where we don't have to worry about everything being corrupted. Right? For real life to live. All right? Revelation chapter 21, verse 2 says, and I, John, saw the holy city, New Jerusalem, coming down from the Most High out of heaven, prepared as a bride adorned for her husband. This is after we get caught up with Yahushua on his return. And we're changed and we come back down, man, and prepare to receive what we just read about in Matthew the 19th chapter. All right, to sit on thrones, everlasting life. Right? Verse 3 says, and I heard a great voice out of heaven saying, behold, the tabernacle of the Most High is with men. The tabernacle is where God sits over the tabernacle. He shines his glory upon the tabernacle. That's where he gives power and wisdom to his men. All right. And so the tabernacle of the Most High is with men, and he will dwell with them, and they shall be his people, and the Most High himself shall be with them and be their power. And the Most High shall wipe away all tears from their eyes, and there shall be no more death, neither sorrow nor crying, neither shall there be any more pain. For the former things are passed away. What are the former things? This world, this current world that we're in, this current understanding and way. You won't have to deal with traffic. You won't have to deal with polluted food and air and water. You won't have to deal with a woman bucking up to you and she don't want you to have another woman and she's nagging you. You won't have to deal with worrying about if your kids are being turned into sodomites or them rebelling against your authority in the house. You won't have to deal with a boss nagging you, man. Or you're 15 minutes late, Tyrone. I'm writing you up. You won't have to deal with taxes on your land. You won't have to deal with all of that stuff. All of those worries, all of the pitiful worries, you don't have to deal with sickness in the flesh. All right? You won't have to deal with that. All of that worry, those tears, that sorrow, that's going to be wiped away. But first, we have to understand that this ain't living. The sentimental ideas and mindsets, cast it out. Cast it out. And continue to focus on the mission. Keep on the helmet of salvation. Because our time is nigh that Yahushua is going to return. So we got to keep our head in the game, man. So I don't know. That was on my spirit. So I just want to do a quick listen on it. Lord willing is edifying. And, please add comments, scriptures, mindset into the comment board, man. Hey, call halal Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shai by Hashem Rakah Kodash. Double honors once again to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. Much peace, love, and salutations to you brothers and sisters out there pushing the glory of Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shai in sincerity and in truth. Shalom. On to the next one.